Hi guys, and welcome to this episode of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia. Today is Saturday, it's 31st of October, which means it is Halloween. And I'm coming to you, not from Germany, but from the UK. I mean, who would have believed that? So if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming back after this break of mine that I took for, almost 3 months, I think. And if you're a new viewer, welcome! This might be a weird episode to get started because I've just come back from a major sort of podcasting break, but whatever, I still hope that you'll enjoy this podcast. Like I said, it's been a while since we last talked. I hope all of you have been doing as well as you possibly can under the current circumstances. Thanks, COVID. And yeah, I am so rusty. I'm so out of podcasting, but we will just try and see how this goes. I have a not sleeping baby right there, so we'll see how long he will actually cope with this. But I did want to check in and record a podcast. I've been wanting to do it for a very long time, but first we were living with my parents, which obviously wasn't a great circumstance to be podcasting in addition to having a tiny baby. And then we moved, and then we had people in the house doing work all the time, so that made it impossible to record. But now they're all gone. It is Saturday. I will get more into both baby and moving and all of that towards the end of the podcast, if we ever get that far. But I will try to stick to the knitting for the beginning of this show. So if you're only here for the knitting, I'm not going to show you everything that I've made or created or finished in these last 3 months because that would be kind of crazy. I haven't been crafting that much, but I have finished a couple of pairs of socks, some of which I've already gifted. But I just thought I'd show you whatever I have on the needles right now. I am doing this on a bit of a whim because that is how it goes. I was so happy when we moved here because we have all these big windows and great light, but the day I picked a podcast, it is super dark and super dreary, so I just hope the quality is okay. I just show you a couple of things. Please forgive me if I don't remember designer names and all of that. Like I said, I am a bit rusty, and at the moment I'm just happy to find a second to record, and I frankly didn't take the time to prepare and put on a ton of makeup or do anything special. I just thought I would press record and see how it goes. So yeah, there we are. So we have one finished object that I'm going to share with you guys today. It is almost finished, which means that it hasn't been blocked yet. But this is the first and only thing that I've started and finished since we moved here about 2.5 weeks ago. And it is so weird. I have quite little knitting time, of course, at the moment. But what I wanted to knit wasn't something mindless, it was colorwork. And I'm the one who never likes to knit mittens or colorwork mittens, but I just really felt like it. So I tried to find some yarn in my stash that would work, which is a bit difficult because I have unpacked my stash. It has safely arrived, but it was unpacked kind of quickly just to get rid of the boxes, so I don't quite know where everything is yet. And also I needed to find something that was already bought up and ready to go because who has time to wind yarn with a baby? I certainly don't. So what I ended up doing is I picked a fingering weight yarn that I held double, and the yarn that I picked is by Pickles. Pickles is a Norwegian brand and yarn shop. And I just had some of their, I think it's called Pure Merino, Pure Wool, something like that, like their basic Colorwork sort of fingering weight wool that they sell in 50-gram balls. I had some of that lying around. I originally had bought it for a Marius sweater, but I don't think I have enough yarn to knit one. I definitely don't have enough yarn to knit one now because I do maybe need to knit stuff a bit bigger than I used to 2 or 3 years ago when I got that yarn. Anyway, so I decided to just use it for colorwork, and I made some modified Selbu mittens by Ellie of Scandia. So this is the second or the third time that I've knit this pattern, but as per usual I made it fingerless because I'm one of those people, I like wearing mittens, but I tend to be attached to my phone and doing things and using my phone to pay for stuff, or even, just doing stuff with my hands. Why am I explaining this? So I made some fingerless sellable mittens, although I do want to make some proper mittens very soon. And here they are not blocked yet, but essentially I just follow the pattern to a T, and after the first sellable rows, which is this star-like shape, I did some ribbing, and I did the same for the thumb, and I have some fingerless mittens. So these took me about 4 or 5 days to knit, and it was really, really nice to knit something a bit more complicated, because while it is difficult to find time to read charts and such, I do like a bit of a challenge. So Selber mittens, I use 3.25 and 3.5 millimeter needles, and I'm so happy that they are done. Next up, I thought I'd just show you a bit of what I've been working on. So this is in no particular order. Maybe I should start, to just make it really confusing, I should start with something that I just cast on. So I really wanted to take part in some knit-alongs, and again, this is a bit of a topic of this episode and probably my life for the next couple of months. It's really hard to find the time to do stuff. So I, for example, really wanted to do the mystery knit along for Stephen West's new shawl, but there's just no way I can commit to these sort of big projects. But one knit along that felt like I could actually participate and possibly make the deadline is the festive sock along that Amy of the TheHappyKnittingPodcast hosts every year. So I really wanted to knit some festive socks, and it turns out I have no Christmas yarn in my stash. How is that possible? I have no idea. So I decided to instead just use some Christmassy red yarn and a winter/Christmas themed pattern. So the yarn is a indie dyed yarn, and honestly I have no idea what it is. I'm really sorry about that. I know I got it at Vaterstetten at a Munich yarn festival last year, so it's about a year in my stash. Possibly, did I go last year? I think I did. Anyways, it's this beautiful sort of dark red Bordeaux colored yarn. It's absolutely stunning. It's a high twist base, I think. I really like it, which is sad because I don't know where I got it, but maybe I will find the yarn tag at some point. And the sun is coming out. Yay. And the pattern is a pattern by This Handmade Life, and I believe it is called the Winter's Frost Socks. You can't see too much of it yet, but it's just a simple sort of lace detail, and the rest of it is just a simple stockinette sock. So again, this felt like a very attainable project to do because it is very memorizable. It's a very quick chart, and there's still a lot of stockinette going on, so these go relatively quickly. So that is one thing that I am knitting on, or I should say I cast on, worked on for one night, and then never looked at them again. But I do want to get these finished because I really like the yarn, and I think the pattern will show up quite nicely once I'm a bit further along and these are blocked and so on. Another pair of socks that I've been working on is this pair of socks, and I have no sock blockers. I have no idea where they are. But I actually cast this on when I was still pregnant and then stopped and didn't start again for a very long time because I had to find the pattern again and figure out how the chart works, but I have finally picked them up again. These are the Birds of a Feather sock, and I can't think of the designer name off the top of my head, but I'm sure you can find it out if you Google it or check Ravelry if that is an accessible option for you. Anyways, they're called Birds of a Feather, and it's this beautiful pattern. I really love it. It's such a gorgeous sock design. It's one of those where I think I would really like to have like 8 pairs of this kind in my stash. And I'm actually using leftovers for this. So I used both the gray and the very bright magenta for Stephen West's last Mystery Knit Along. So last year I did his star-shaped Mystery Knit Along, I can't think of the name right now, with these 2 yarns. They're actually 100% wool yarns, so I usually wouldn't use them for socks, but I had them in my stash and I was like, well, I might as well knit them up because I do really like the color. Both of these are by Malabrigo, so they're Malabrigo sock. I'm pretty sure this one is called Pearl. I can't remember. The pink one might be called Light of Love, Love of Light, something like that. And then I used a yarn by Das Mondschaf, I believe. Definitely a yarn that has some nylon content for the heel. So the first sock is done, and after moving here I have started the second sock. So I am, I think, 2 or 3 repeats off from starting the heel, and yeah, I really want to get these off the needles. They're very fun. Again, the chart is very memorizable if you're used to some lace knitting, and I'm really enjoying them, but I just want to have them off the needles because these have been on the needles for about, I don't know, 3 months or something, which is very, very unusual for me. What else am I working on? I have 2 more projects to show you. I'm actually also working on another project that I won't show you today because guess what? I am designing again, which makes me so incredibly happy, but I'm keeping that as a secret for now. We will see how it goes in the future, but I am not quite ready to share anything quite yet. But what I can share with you is progress on the sweater. You have seen this before if you've watched the podcast before. This is my Richter sweater, which is a design by Julia Wilkins. It's a 2-color yoked sweater. And what I have done is, instead of just using one contrast color, I am using a sort of fade or gradient set for the Colorwork. So you can see it starts out with this white cream and then goes into like these pink and purplish colors throughout the Colorwork. All of the yarn that I'm using is Holst Super Soft. So I do actually have a tag for this one. This is Holst yarn from Denmark. The main color that I'm using is called Plum. And then I had this fade set, which I think only had a number or something. And it comes in these little cakes that you can then use, of course, to make all kinds of things. And last time I showed this to you, I think I was just finishing the yoke. So I have now finished all of the body. And no, I have actually never tried this on because who has time for that? So instead I just kind of winged it, and when I felt like the length was right, I did some ribbing and then I bound off. I have actually also blocked the body because I was a little bit worried about something, but it turns out it's fine. And right now I am working on the sleeves. So the first sleeve is close to being done. I do think I want to have either bracelet length or full length sleeves, so I do actually need to try this on. But I think I'm pretty close to starting the ribbing for this, and then I just have one more sleeve to go, and then this whole sweater will be done, which is very exciting. Actually, ever since we're here, I am so inspired to knit all the sweaters for baby and myself because I don't know, it's just such great sweater weather, and since I'm not pregnant anymore, I'm also not hot all the time anymore, so I can actually wear all the garments. And I've been finding my warmer sweaters, so my decay wet sweaters and so on, really useful. So I just want to knit all the things because turns out the UK is perfect for a knitter because it feels like you need knitwear most of the year. So I am definitely in knitwear heaven here. So yeah, that is my one garment that I have on the needles right now, but I have so many sweaters that I want to start, and I think I'm going to be doing some casting on pretty soon. The last thing that I have to show you is actually a crochet project. So I don't think I have shown this off on the podcast yet, but when I was still pregnant also, I decided to cast on for another crochet blanket because I just wanted something simple and mindless, and sometimes it's nicer to do some crochet just to change things up. So what I'm doing is essentially another giant granny square blanket. There are so many tutorials for how to do this on the internet. I think I just used some kind of YouTube video because I always forget how stuff works. I can't really crochet very, very well, so I tend to forget everything if I don't do it. So yeah, I just googled crochet granny square and I'm doing a massive one. And the yarn is basically doing all the work for me. So I am using a cotton yarn. And it's a gradient, so it goes from this sort of very light salmon color to a very dark, almost blackish purple. So yeah, it's like one of those crappy projects, except you don't have to wind minis, you don't have to do magic knots, you don't have to weave in any ends. And this is a, what's it called? Twirls Deluxe skein. And this is from Hobby. So Hobby, I think, is a Finnish brand. I'm not quite sure. So this is a 250 grams. It's 1,000 meters, and I've been looking for these sort of gradient yarns for a while because I thought they would be really fun to use for like baby blankets and projects like that. But most of these kind of yarns, they are not twisted. So often you find these sort of yarns, but they're just several strands of different colors that are not twisted together. But in this case, it is actually a sort of proper twisted yarn, which I prefer to work with. So I think I got this and at least one, if not two more different colors on a sale from Hobby a while ago when we were still living in Munich. And someone told me that these make sort of great baby size blankets. So yeah, that is what I'm doing. This is colorway 25 in case anyone is interested. And yeah, this was basically just sitting on my nightstand after I had the baby. And every now and then when you have like a little bit of downtime, I would just pick it up and crochet a couple of these, what are they called? Oh my gosh, I can't remember anything anymore. Are there treble stitches? I have no idea. I just, clusters, that's what they're called. I would just sit down and crochet a couple of clusters, or maybe I would make one corner. So I never got any real progress, but still I'm working on it, and I just stuck this out again to start working on it some more because I do really quite like it, and it's quite nice to have a repetitive, simple project to work on as well. I realized that most of the things that I've shown you today are on a very similar color palette. I'm not sure what's happening there. But yeah, apparently I'm Ellie of Scandia now and I like anything burgundy, so there we go. Yeah, so that's kind of what I've been working on, crafting on. Like I said, I've been all over the place with my crafting. I've also finished some stuff. I temporarily lost some of my whips, but I have found them again. So yeah, a bit of a chaotic whip section today, but I hope you still enjoyed it. And I should have mentioned this in the beginning. I don't do show notes. What I do keep is Ravelry pages, which I am a bit conflicted about at the moment because I'm still not happy about Ravelry, and I appreciate that it is not accessible by everyone. But that's the only place where I'm really logging and tracking my projects right now. So I'm really sorry about that. I am looking into alternatives right now, but again, time is a bit of an issue, so please be patient if you cannot use Ravelry. And if you can, I will provide links below the video so you can have a look. So yeah, that is basically the knitting portion of this video. So if you're only here for that, which is absolutely fine, then I will see you whenever I manage to record again. If you do want to stick around, get ready for a big waffle segment because it's been a while. So first up, thank you so much to anyone who got in touch before or after I had the baby, whether it's asking if you're okay, wondering about us, or sending us congratulations. All of that was so sweet and I really appreciated it. Please understand that I couldn't reply to anyone, or to everyone I should say, because, well, we had a baby and there are not enough hours in the day, and we were completely overwhelmed with the outpouring of love and everyone sending us such nice and kind comments. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. So yeah, that happened. We are all healthy and well. Baby was healthy from the beginning. I had some issues, but I'm absolutely fine now, so please don't worry about me. It was obviously a big transition, and if you've been following along, you know that we were planning to move here in April or May, and then that didn't happen, but we had already decided to leave Munich, so we were not only starting basically a life as parents, but at the same time, we were living with my family. I was in hospital for a while, so it was a lot of stuff, a lot of change. But we came out the other side. We are very, very happy, of course. We have a healthy baby boy. I'm not sharing his name or any pictures of him or anything at the moment, and I would just please ask you guys to respect that. I realize that there are different options of how to handle children on social media and such, but this is what we are doing right now. So there were a few people, not very many, but a few who were quite disappointed when I didn't share his name or anything, but please just try to respect that, because that is just a decision that we've made for now. We may change our mind at some point, but yeah, that is how it is for now. But yes, of course, he is the most adorable little guy. He's growing like crazy, so I'm constantly thinking about what to knit him next. I do want to talk at some point about which hand knits have been really useful, because especially now that we're here, I'm actually using all of the hand knits a lot. And of course, we've made some experiences in terms of what works and what is maybe a cute gift, but not really useful for actually dressing a baby. So I do want to go into that another episode. But yeah, so that is one thing that happened, one huge shift in our lives, obviously. So yeah, Kai went back to work after 2 weeks. And luckily I was with family, so they could help out a little bit while I was getting better and just getting used to everything. So that was really, really nice. And then, I mean, we had so many different plans as to when we would move here, but it all kind of went very, very quickly all of a sudden. So we were looking at houses, mostly online, and organizing things like utilities and council tax and flights and passports and all the legal stuff that comes with moving countries and moving our life to a completely different place. And then in the middle of October, we actually went on a plane to London. So flying with the baby was an experience for itself. I was so scared. I was so stressed out about it. Luckily, it wasn't just me. It was me and my sister, because my husband Kai had already kind of flown in advance to organize everything. So I was completely stressed out, and of course, baby boy was absolutely fine. He didn't mind flying one bit. It was super easy. So that all went very, very well. And yeah, we are living now just north of London in beautiful Hertfordshire. Unfortunately, we haven't seen too much of it yet, because obviously we can't really go anywhere too far. We also don't have a car, and we are heading into lockdown, so that's a bit of a bummer. But we have made it here, and the house that we are renting is beautiful. It was a bit of a struggle in the beginning, because everything was supposed to be like done and renovated when we moved in, and it turns out they weren't quite finished, so we had a lot of workers basically up until 2 days ago and could only use part of our house. We didn't have a living room. But now, fingers crossed, most things are fixed. It's just that it's an old house. It's almost 100 years old, and it's beautiful, but the people who lived here before us didn't take very great care of it, which is such a bummer. So every time like we clean something and figure out something, you just notice little things that could have been treated so much nicer. So yeah, the place needs a lot of love, and we don't have much time, but it is starting to feel like a home. The only thing that remains to be done really is the pathway to our house is really like tiny, so we can't get in and out with our pram very well. So we're having someone finish that for us at the moment. And then fingers crossed, we should be good for now. So yeah, the last 2.5 weeks have been kind of mostly about unpacking boxes. Kai is working a lot, but thankfully he's mostly working from home, which makes stuff a lot easier. and we've been exploring a little bit as much as you can with the current situation. And yeah, we're just getting settled into UK life. Yeah, so it's a big shift, obviously, and the fact that we are doing it as we're heading into winter and heading into lockdown and all of that isn't great. It could be easier for sure, but we're just so happy to have made it here because basically every day leading up to the move, COVID numbers were going up. And I was just freaking out. And, you go through all these possible scenarios, but it all worked out fine. We also didn't have to self isolate after coming here, which was really, really lucky because I think that would have been quite hard. And yeah, now it's just, finding a new routine, both living in the UK and for me being at home with a little one and all of that comes along with that. But it has definitely been a challenge. I think we could have had it a bit easier, but we chose to do this, and it's really fun to go on an adventure as well. So yeah, that's basically what's been happening in these last 3 months. Baby boy is about 10 weeks old now. He is doing super well. We're at the stage where we have to be super careful because he does something new every single day, and from the beginning, I think he was quite strong and mobile, so you can't really leave him anywhere anymore because something will inevitably go wrong. So we're constantly trying to keep an eye on him and figure out new ways to keep him entertained and happy. Yeah, that's essentially what we're doing right now. Today is a Saturday. This morning was absolutely miserable, and we've been going for a lot of walks in the rain, but it's actually looking much nicer now, so who knows, maybe we'll go out and just go for a walk or something again. We're really lucky to live both close to high street of the place that we are living at, so we have like shops and stuff to walk to, as well as having some parks and nice area around us, so it's actually a good place to be. So I'm just always, walking all across town with him, either in the carrier or the pram, because I really like discovering new places and seeing everyone else's houses and just getting an idea of the place. So that's basically what we've been doing, and that's what we are doing. And yeah, we unpacked, I think, the last of our boxes besides some boxes with like Christmas stuff today. So we are almost box free, which is very exciting. So after doing all of that and podcasting, I don't think I'll be doing much today, but I'm hoping to get some knitting in. And yeah, I am definitely hoping to be back with you on a more regular schedule. I feel like I've forgotten tons of things that I wanted to share with you. And of course, if you have any questions, obviously there's a lot of stuff going on. So if you want to ask questions, go ahead and feel free, obviously within reason. But I do love hearing from you. I hope you're all doing very well, and I aim to be back with you within the next, I don't know, 1 or 2 weeks. Fingers crossed, who knows what will happen, but seeing as again we are going into lockdown and there's not that much to do and baby does sleep every now and then, who knows, maybe we get lucky and I can create some content for you guys, which I think would be really, really fun. So thanks again for watching. Thanks if you've stuck out through the end. I feel like this was a bit wobbly, but again, I haven't done it for a very long time. I hope to see you again very soon. Until then, please stay safe, stay healthy, and see you soon. Happy knitting. Bye.